Welcome back to the channel. I'm glad you decided to come back and watch another one of my videos. Please go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell button so you're notified anytime that I do put another video up. I know I don't put them up on a regular basis like a lot of these other places do, but I do have times that I have trouble finding content for you. But today what we're going to do is these little indicators for the dash. This is a panel out of my parts truck. What we're going to be working on is the one in the antique 1988 KWT 600. We're going to be changing some of them. But in the past, what I used to do is I used to buy these entire little things that would go into the holes here. And you have to fight to get them out, because they are a bit of a pain to get out. But then you just go ahead and you push them in and then hook the wire up. But I have recently found a place to actually make me the labels to go into these slots, or not slots, but the little windows here. So instead of buying some of these online to replace ones that are already working, and a lot of times I'm having trouble finding the wording that I need anyways. So I went to a place here in Georgia called Sign Solutions. I'm not promoting them or anything like that, but I'm just telling you, they make signs, and they went ahead and made me up a bunch of these little signs. As you can see, there's different ones here. I had a dozen made, so I have extras for what I'm doing, because I'm going to be changing some for the cruise control and the Jake brakes. And I just said about having trouble finding ones with wording like PTO, which is this switch right here that I installed, and I'm going to put PTO in there so that way it's indicated when the dash lights are on, so you can see which one is the PTO. Even though it's kind of evident to most people, it's the safety switch. You have to flip the lever up to actually flip the switch, and then when you put the cover back down, it shuts it off. I did that because I don't want this PTO engaged going down the road, especially if I'm not the one driving the truck. So, I mean, it's fairly simple. I mean, these little covers here, they're not hard to get off, but you have to be careful, because if you're not careful when you're taking them off, the little tabs that are on the back side of the covers will break off. So you need something small enough to get back behind here and just work with it a little bit. And as you've seen, it just falls right off. And then the label that's in here will just come right out. And then you put the one in that you want. So on this one here, it's the PTO. So we're going to take a PTO. Like I said, I had some extras made. Got a PTO there, PTO here, and I already pulled one off the cardboard. And all you do is, a little hard to do with trying to hold the camera and do this at the same time, but you just go ahead and you put it in there, and then you go ahead and take the cover. Now remember I said about the little tabs on there. As you can see right there where my finger is, there's a tab. Those things are real thin. The whole thing's real thin actually, but they'll break off real easy. So once you get it in place, then you go ahead, and I'm not going to be able to do this by one hand, so I'm going to have to do it off the camera. But you just go ahead and put it in there, and then while you're holding pressure against it, you go ahead and bend the tabs back down over the little light here. And that's why I say you need something real thin. That's why I'm using a knife. And it's really that simple to change the labels. And all you gotta do is find some place close to you that will actually make them up. I had a dozen made up from this place. I mean, if you're in Georgia, you can probably, if you're around Atlanta or Conyers, Covington kind of area, you can probably go ahead and reach out to these people And as you can see, what I paid for a dozen of them, and they are on Facebook. But I'm not promoting them. I'm just giving you a resource that you might be able to use if you're around this area, or you might be able to call them up and have them shipped to you. I don't know. I never tried to have any of that kind of stuff made up and shipped. I like doing it locally. Keep the money to the small local businesses. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do the PTO, the Jake brakes. This one here, it looks okay, but when the lights are on, it's all broke up. So I got one made for that. So, and any of the other ones that are broke up, I'm going to go ahead and replace. But that's all it is to replace them. Fairly simple. And honestly, because I was paying like about $10 to $15 for the entire light with the wording, and these cost me $86 and change for a dozen of them. So I guess it is a little cheaper to do it this way. But it's a lot easier because you're not fighting to get those little squares out of the dash when trying not to break them or anything like that, because they do fit in there tight. Now, I did have, when I put this here, I did make my own hole for the light. I did make my own hole for the toggle switch. And that's why everything is not in perfect alignment, because I'm not perfect. And I don't have a machine to stamp these out. I actually had to cut them and file to get everything to fit. But go ahead and like I said, hit that bell button and subscribe, and you'll see the next video I put out. I'm not sure which one's going to be. I got a lot of things going on at one time. This is how the wording turned out. I would have preferred them to be a little bit smaller, because especially look at the one for the wiper. It says Vipers. But I mean, that's my fault, because they did send me a proof sheet in my email and I did approve it. But in hindsight, after looking at these, I mean, Jake should have been Jake's, should have been Ness on the back of it, but I didn't catch that. PTO, I mean, that turned out perfect, as big as it is. But these other ones, like Cruise and Wipers, that says Vipers, and Jake, should have been saying Jake's with an S. Those are the only problems I've seen, but those are my fault, because I should have actually went down and looked at the stuff before I approved it, but I just did it on the email. And according to the receipt here, it's 1 inch by 0.88. In hindsight, it probably should have been 3/4 of an inch by probably 0.80 or 0.75 or something like that. Because I did have to trim them a little bit on both ends and top and bottom to make them fit in. But like I said, that's all on me. That's not the printing company. I should have actually gone down there to the printing company and looked at what they were going to do before they did it, but I was just being lazy and I tried to do it on email. Anyways, that's how it turned out. And for me, if I'm the only one driving the truck, that's fine. And even though this says Vipers, the knob says Wipers and Washers, so that's not a big deal to me. I mean, if I was trying to be exact and perfect, yeah, I would have a problem. But this is for me. I just wanted to get the broke ones out of there. Okay, like I said at the beginning of the video, please subscribe and hit that bell button. Help me grow this channel so more people can get assistance and help doing this stuff. Thank you, and have a better day.